Alright, so in today's video, I'm going to give you guys the top 5 tips on how to improve on controller. Now, a lot of people have been asking me how have I improved on controller. As you know, I'm a controller PC player, so I'm always versing mouse and keyboard, so I'm always at a disadvantage. But I want to give you guys the best tips that I think will really help you guys improve and how I improved. Before we get into this video, quickly I want to say if you guys do enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and be sure to subscribe. We're just at 20k, but let's keep grinding to the 21k. So if you drop a sub, I would really appreciate it. But let's get right into this video. Alright, now I feel like there's 5 main things that I think will really help you guys. And starting off with the first one, I always talk about this, and anytime anyone asks me how I improve, and that would be the THunts. And that's just, your aim. If your aim is not that good, obviously you're on controller, so it's gonna be a lot harder to control your aim, or to have very good aim, because you are on 2 analog sticks. Especially if you play console and you're always versing mouse and keyboard players, because that's what just full of console. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of mouse and keyboard players. I would say having, the best aim you possibly can is very important. And one tip that I would say would make sure that you are always going into THunts, whether it's for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes at least, and just doing THunts before you play ranked. Now, I would say just playing THunts in general, I would say like put it on like house or coastline. I play on house because it's a much smaller map, and just go around and just start shooting. Like literally put some music on, just play a bunch of THunts, and you will actually like see your aim improve so much. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do in THunts that I want to talk about, but for the first main tip I want to talk about, it is just to go into THunts, make sure you are always warming up, make sure you're always just giving it your all, you know what I mean? You want to make sure you are not just going in and just playing like, poo. You want to make sure you always have the best aim possible, especially against those weirdo MK players. But let's move on to the next tip. Alright, now I want to talk about sensitivity, as a lot of people ask me about sensitivity. They always are asking me, oh, what's a good sense? Can you recommend me a good sense? There is no good or bad sense. I think every sensitivity is good. It's really up to you and how you can, control it. If you feel that you cannot, get a good sensitivity, something I would recommend is go into a THunt, right? And just put your sensitivity on for like vertical, horizontal, and ADS. Start it off on a base of 50. Let's say you have no idea what sensitivity you want, but just do that. Put it on 50, 50, and 50. Now, go into a THunt, and look up and down. Is it too slow? Okay, raise it up. Is it too fast? Lower it. Now, do that for your left and right, for your up and down, and for your ADS. Try and find something that you feel very, very comfortable on, because the number one thing that I notice is a lot of people tend to constantly change their sensitivities, which is what causes them to just not do as good. Because you're always playing on an inconsistent sensitivity, and you're always changing it, so you're just going to play more inconsistent. I feel like that's why I've played on a sensitivity for about 4 years, the same exact sensitivity. I have not changed it. I think all you need to do is just go into your THunts and just practice your sensitivity. I feel like sensitivity is super important, and it's really something that's looked over in the ways of like constantly changing it and not taking it from anybody else. You don't want to take somebody else's sensitivity. You can if you want to give it a try, of course, but I would say it's really all preference, and it comes down to how you can do with it. So like I said, go into a THunt, practice it. Do not change your sensitivity 24/7. Also, see how it feels when you're shooting at the wall, shooting in general. Just see how everything feels overall. And if you keep grinding with it, keep doing THunts, like I said, blast some music, you'll be set and you'll be chilling. Now, when it comes to this third tip, I have it as positioning. I think positioning is super important with controller. Now, what I mean by this is if you're going to be playing against mouse and keyboards, or this is what I do. So I'm controller on PC, and I'm playing in higher elo, Plat 1, Diamond, even sometimes Champion elo. So I have to have the better positioning, because if I'm just holding, very common angles, I'm going to get pre-fired, or I'm just going to lose my gunfight. So you notice a lot of times in any of my clips, I am having, the better positioning. I'm being ready to swing. I'm playing more aggressive. And that's one thing that you have to do. You have to have better positioning, and generally what I mean by that is use your surroundings, to help you. Like, you don't want to be standing in the open. You want to make sure you're always using anything around you to give you the best advantage, whether it's, behind a bar, behind a wall. Just, you want to always make sure you're using everything around you to have the best positioning, and you want to always make sure you have a plan. You want to make sure that you're not just, left in the open. You think about, okay, what am I going to do if someone comes this way, and then what am I going to do? You don't want to just be winging everything you do. You want to just be in the best possible spot where either you cannot be killed from, sometimes even good to be, like, in a rat spot and just play like a freak. Sometimes that helps as well. Like I said, especially against mouse and keyboard players. If you want to take a gunfight with a mouse and keyboard player, you have to either swing them and just, like, go crazy, or you just have to have better positioning. Something they won't expect, something that provides you a lot of cover, something that just gives you the advantage, as obviously they are on mouse and keyboard, and even other controller players in general. And this goes for even if you play mouse and keyboard on PC, of course. Just having positioning is super important, and having the best positioning possible. Like I said, always use your surroundings, always make a plan, and do not just run around and wing it. Now, for the fourth tip, I want to talk about recoil. Now, recoil is super important, especially on controller, considering the fact that you are on 2 analog sticks and you are not on a mouse. You can't just pull down with your entire arm, so it tends to be much harder for people on controller. Now, one thing that I would say would be just to make sure you are going into a T-hunt, and like what I do is I clear out the entire top floor. I make sure once I do that, I then go to the wall and I start up very close. I start shooting at the wall, and then as I get the recoil pattern down of that, gun, I then back up even more, and I do it again, and I do it again, and I do it again. And I keep doing this until I start to learn the patterns of the guns that I'm going to be using. Now, this can also change depending on your sensitivity. If you want to mess around your sensitivity, see how it, affects your recoil. But generally, just recoil, I would say it just comes from you practicing it in T-hunts. I think it helps a lot. I think it's a lot faster than going and playing casual and practicing practicing your recoil. I just think recoil control is super important, and especially if you're on controller, you are going to be at a big disadvantage if you're versing people that are on mouse and keyboard. So, like I said, just go into a T-hunt, start shooting at the wall, refill your ammo, just clear out the top floor and house. That's what I do as you see in these clips. I think it helps a lot. I think it's helped me a lot. It's helped me learn a lot, as well as some attachments that I would recommend. I would say that for sights are all preference. It really does not matter. There's no good or bad sight. It's whatever you feel comfortable with. I would say angled grip is very good, but it will cause you to have a little bit more recoil, but it will cause you to have your gun up much quicker. So that's why I use angled grip a lot, as I've learned the patterns of certain guns. If I am not comfortable, though, with a certain pattern of a gun, you will probably see me run vertical grip on it just because, I'm not really as comfortable with it. But most of the time, I would recommend running angled, unless, of course, you cannot control it, then use vertical. Now, when it comes to barrels, I use flash hider on just about everything. You can give it a try if you want, but I think it's also preference. It really depends on how you feel. The only thing that I am using muzzle brake on right now would be the Jaeger's, 416, as, they kind of just nerfed it. And I think the muzzle brake is super good on it. That's the one thing I would say definitely use on Jaeger. It would be the muzzle brake, especially after his new nerf. But generally, most attachments are just preference. But like I said, if you want something from me, I use flash hider on literally just about everything besides Jaeger. Now, that being said, the last tip that I want to give you guys is something super important and something that is not looked at enough when it comes to Siege, and that would be confidence. Now, if you're playing on a controller, you cannot be playing like you're scared. If you are playing passive and you're playing like you're scared, you will not hit your shots, you will not be, you not have the best positioning you can, and you will not catch those people off guard. You need to be playing with a ton of confidence. You need to think that you are the best player in the world. You need to be running around like you are going to kill anybody you get into a gunfight with. If you play too passive, it's going to cause you to play nervous, it's going to cause you to play bad, and you're just not going to play to your full potential. There's so many times that even this is what I'm working on, where I will be very inconsistent some nights because I am playing way too passive because I just do not have confidence. And that will come from me playing with a controller on PC, so I'm always versing mouse and keyboards. But anytime I'm playing with the most amount of confidence, I am swinging anybody and I'm killing anybody. Especially if you do what I told you when it comes to warming up your aim and, warming up your recoil and having the best positioning and having your good sensitivity. If you do all this, you have no reason to be scared. If you warm up, your aim is going to be very good. You just need to have that confidence when you are in games. You need to play like I said, you are the best player. Anyone you swing, you are killing. Now, I'm not saying run around like a chicken without a head, but I'm just saying take every gunfight like you are the best. Don't be scared. You cannot be playing scared. Like I said, playing scared makes you die. It just is not good. But overall, like I said, just play with confidence. Make sure you're always warming up in T-hunts. Warm up your recoil. Learn the patterns of guns that you feel you're uncomfortable with, or guns that you want to be used, that you want to be using a lot. Work on your positioning. Use your surroundings. Use communication from your teammates for good positioning, just to know where people are. Position yourself around your teammates, around drones that you have, around anything like that. And make sure you're always, not changing your sensitivity. Make sure you just stick to sensitivity and just practice it. If you do all these 5 things, I truly think that you will improve on controller, as that's how I got diamond on PC with a controller, and that's how I just improved overall. Another thing I would say, just a 6th little tip, would just be to self-analyze. Any mistakes that you make, this may not just go for controller, but this goes for game sense in general, just self-analyze everything you do. If you make a mistake, do not blame it on that they're mouse and keyboard, blame it on what you could have done better. Think about what you could have done better, and even if it is because they're on mouse and keyboard and they take you in a gunfight, it does not matter. Just think about how you could have had better positioning, think about how you could have done better, and just think about that in the long run. Overall, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I will see y'all. Also, I stream every single day at 11 p.m. EST, so if you want to pull up, I would greatly appreciate it. But I will see y'all. Have an amazing day. Peace.